Ezra, first off, is a black belt. I don't know if you remember this, Chris, but
yeah, that's
black
right.
belt. And then he, after that argument, Brian, you were there, weren't you?
Was that when Dave got in his face?
Yeah.
It was a Dave.
It's the guy that recorded
Blue October.
Yeah, Blue October.
Yeah. So what? His name's Dave Castell, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Dave.
That's
Castell.
right. It's Dave Castell. But I just remember
for that.
Yeah, when he walked off, I'm like looking at Ezra, like, what do we like? We're now all of a sudden we're like bowing up, like. I mean, I'm, like, I don't know what to do here. And so Ezra walks over and he gets 2 shots of Jack.
Got 2 shots right before he walked up on the stage. He downed 1, 2, and then he got up on the stage.
And then we got up on stage and we played one of the most fiery sets.
Oh my gosh. It was like.
I remember that set. Like, that was the most in your face, we're going to stomp your throat into the ground kind of set.
Listen, baby, I know babies too. Better than one they meet when they're hard to do. All my friends I haven't forgotten, somehow out of touch. Every time you bless my friends, but my enemies twice in but see, I've dared the truth for years and didn't let them.
Yeah, which is funny because at Liquid Lounge, for whatever reason, I guess it was just the way the vibe of the place. Whenever y'all would play Liquid Lounge, that's when y'all would play all your real chill, relaxed songs.
Oh, that's interesting.
To go up and have a fiery set.
Yeah. Well, that in the time that he sang Redwoods and Sunflowers at
man.
I forget what club that was, but we played right in front of Isley.
Yeah.
Oh man, Isley. So my story about Isley, we played this gig, and we went to Tyler and played, and the guy, I can't remember his name, Boyd Dupree.
Yeah, the dad.
His name.
Yeah,
the dad. He said, man, I really like you guys. He goes, y'all sound really good. He goes, he kind of similar like to my kids have a band. And his kids are like 10 years old.
Yeah, I think the youngest was 9. I think the youngest was 9 at that time.
And I was like, oh, your kids have a band? And I was like, I was thinking it was like Hanson, because Bop was real popular. And I was like, oh, really? Your kids have a band? And he was like, yeah, they have a band. And I'm like, oh, well, good luck with your kids and their band, And I was all like, that's awesome. And it was Isley who became this huge DFW. I don't even know what they're doing now. Did they ever have any commercial success?
Yeah, they did. They got signed to an independent kind of like more like punk label. And there's only one original. I think the drummer and the one female singer is all that's left in the band. That they've, they still sound like Isley, and they've kind of married and done their own things. But they're still around.
One of their big successes, though, didn't they open for Coldplay on a tour?
I don't think so.
It wasn't them. It was somebody else that opened up for Coldplay, I think. But I could be wrong, though.
I could have sworn
I thought Jeremy played. I thought Jeremy played with them.
Maybe they did. Maybe they did open for Coldplay. I don't know. I know they opened for Brand New and a couple other bands.
Isn't that where Jeremy met Eddie Vedder?
No, that was with Midlake.
Okay.
Yeah, Midlake opened up for Pearl Jam. So.
Oh, that's funny. That's awesome.
They played at the AAC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Well, speaking of that, after Not Call Common, was it after Not Call Common? No, it couldn't have been after Not Call Common. When did Louis play with Shara? Did y'all ever hear of
That
Shara?
was before. Yeah, he played with her before he joined Not Call Common.
Okay, that was before.
Yeah. So yeah, Shara's.
That's right. That's what it was.
Shara, I actually took Ireland to see Shara open up for Death Cab for Cutie, and she remembered me, and like we got photos, and man, Ireland thought I was like the coolest. She's like, my dad knew la la la, and I'm like, yeah, And then after we hung out with her backstage and all this stuff, she's like, okay, I'm ready to go back to the hotel because we went to Oklahoma. We saw her in Oklahoma City. I'm like, wait, we got Death Cab coming up. And she's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, no, we're saving this gig. So, but she's over it. I mean, she makes fun about it now. But yeah, I mean, Cher's still around and doing her thing. So,
did I ever tell you guys? Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. So I looked it up. Isley did open for Coldplay.
Oh, cool.
Chris Martin, it says he invited the Dupree family to open on one of their tours. And then it said they continued to tour as opening acts also for bands as like Newfound Glory, Taking Back Sunday, and The Fray.
Yeah.
That they opened for all of them as well.
Yeah.
I was in a different band before, Not Called Common, and we opened for Plank Eye.
Oh, yeah.
And we opened for, oh, shoot. I can't remember. The big Georgia guy, the big beard dude. The Georgia band. Oh, gosh.
The Georgia band. Oh, I love the Georgia band. It's my favorite one.
What is their name? Oh, my gosh. It's in 1995.
Don't get me to lie.
He has... oh, my gosh. Okay. I'm going to try and remember that at some point during
the
this.
The big Georgia guy.
So we opened for them when they were nobodies here in Irving, when we were in Irving at some show, and we opened also Louie and I, because Louie and I were in that band together, because Louie and I had a relationship going back all the way to the early 90s. And Louie was at a show. I played in a band in Atlanta, and Elton John was there.
Oh.
Did you ever hear this story?
No, I haven't heard this one. Is this the electronic drum set band that you were in?
Yes.
Okay.
So Depeche Mode was really big in the early 90s. And I met these guys at church, and they're like, hey, man, we're putting together this emo, wasn't emo, but whatever Depeche Mode was, that type of sound. And he said, we need a drummer. And I had a full drum kit, and they were like, but we were thinking maybe to play pads. And so I bought this drum cat and played a pad, and I stood up. So I should have just had a kick. That would have been a little more complete. But anyway, so I stood up, but I had all this percussion stuff. And I think the kick was pre-programmed. So I only had to play the snare and hi-hats and stuff like that. It was weird. But we got a lot of press in Atlanta during the early 90s. And Louis used to come to our shows. He was like Ryan and Christian. He would come to the show because he was my friend, and he would help me load in and all this. But then Louis played bass too. They already had a bass player, and so then Louis came to a bunch of shows, and we opened for they had Delight.
Who? Oh yeah. World Click.
World Click. We opened for Delight. What is love? We opened for them.
Right on.
And so the thing is that we played this show in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
And full on, there were all these people, there were probably 50 people all dancing and grooving in the audience and just all this. And so then we finished playing. And so then I was packing up my gear, and I had I had to go because I had to play probably church the next day or something like that. And I was like, okay, I got to get out of here. And, it was downtown Atlanta. So it was kind of like Club Dada, where you're on the street and you got to move your car, but then you got to put your hazard lights on and, hope nobody steals your car or your gear while, you're having to take it out. It's those kind of stressful situations. And so I had to go, and I was like on a 3-foot stage, and these two guys were dancing, but one guy had a hat and dark sunglasses. And so I decided to walk this way, and the guy danced with his friend, and they walked that way. And this was now to club music, but they had been dancing the whole time when I was playing. And so then I couldn't get off the stage because they blocked my way. So then I turned this way, and they backed up, and they were like, it's like, they're blocking my way. So I tried to go this way again. They moved back forward again with the groove of the music, and they blocked my way. So finally, it's one of those kind of things. You're going this way, go there. We're both going there. So finally, I just I'm going. And I had cymbals, and I had my heavy gear and all this. And I bumped one of the guys and just sorry, dude, I'm heading out, And he turned, and he was like, oh, sorry. And I said, it's okay. And one of the girls that would come to our shows, like Louis came to our shows, this girl came to our shows. Her name is Val. And she was like, oh my gosh, you just ran into Elton John. And I was like, Elton John? And I put my stuff down right then. And she was like, yeah, he was right there. And I said, and so I'm like looking and I'm like, what? And sure enough, I look back and it was Elton John, but he had his little hat and he was in disguise mode. But it was Elton John. And she said, oh yeah, I come here all the time. And he comes in here with his boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And so Elton John actually was in the audience when my band played. And that's my funny thing that, you know.
That's awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
I've never heard that story. That's
pretty sweet.
1991, 92. Somewhere
oh my God.
Chris, you said that you were, I guess the last one to join the band.
I was the last one to join the band. And
when were you asked, Joel?
I was the second person asked. And the funny thing is, I was playing around Denton and, you know, just various churches and bands and stuff, just anybody that needed a guitar player. And Ezra got my name from somebody at a band and he goes, oh, this guy probably sucks. So he actually threw away my number. And then I had recorded an album my first year at North Texas. My second year in North Texas with this band called Four Stones Left. And we recorded at this place called the Panhandle House with a guy named Eric Herbst. Well, Eric is a great guitar player and just phenomenal musician, just funny guy. Well, Ezra, through his trying to find musicians, got a hold of Eric, and Eric was like, well, I can't do it because I'm running my studio and I'm already in a couple bands, but here's this guy, Joel Cox. Well, I found out that he had like thrown my number away. And so when the first couple times he called me, I was like, forget you. I'm not calling, you know, you're a dick.
Oh, that's right.
And so
that's so funny. You forgot.
Yeah. And so then, you know, after a couple calls, I was like, okay. So I met him at him and Greg at the Chili's in, I believe in Denton, the one that's right off of the Loop. And we had a conversation and I thought, who is this guy? I don't need to be getting in this band. But the next time we met at Greg's house, and that's when I joined. I was like, okay, we wrote 2 songs that night, and I thought
So Greg was the first.
Cool. Greg was officially the first because Ezra was playing in a band called Drive By Orchestra, and Greg used to go to those shows. And of course, y'all know Greg. He's the let me tell you who I am, and the business guy. He's always, you know, he knows how to sell himself.
Here's my business card.
Yeah, he knows how to sell himself. And I'm a musician, and if you ever need a guitar player, and so Ezra,
let me know. That. Yeah, and I'm a Christian, and you know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing that kind of led Ezra to Greg was he was in Drive By, and it was all brilliant musicians, but all of them were they weren't believers. And at that time, that was kind of something on Ezra's heart was to do that. And so he got with Greg first, and then I joined.
He was like, I need to be in a band with believers.
Yeah. So, and, but yeah.
And then I don't know how they got Louis, but
yeah, I don't know. But the first time I met Louis, I was like, instantly, this guy is just the greatest. Like literally I have had fun and great times with everybody, but I think I've had more fun times with Louis because it's always, you know, that's how we're walking in Deep Ellum. This guy walks up, hey man, can I have some money? I want to get drunk. And Louis goes, so do I. And he gave him like a $20 bill or something. And it just kept walking. I mean, it was always like, he always had a comeback on something. And he's one of the most brilliant people I've ever played with. But he's also like, when he is on, no one can touch him. And it's like you're waiting for that firecracker to go off. And when it does, it's like, he's like when we're in the studio and he picks up that keyboard and all of a sudden he starts doing all these synth bass lines. I mean, that was off the top of his head. No one else. I couldn't have done that. I mean, and he was always like that. So Louis,
his playing was always very refreshing, and he got a lot of inspiration from pop artists that he'd be like, ooh, I could play the Led Zeppelin bass line. Boom, 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 boom. Don't. But it's a different tempo now.
Yeah.
And it's a different meter, it's a different song, it's a different everything. And he would do stuff like that. He was so brilliant. He would just be like, ooh, I'll play that, but I'll change it up because it's a different key and blah, blah, blah. And like, and I was like, dude, where'd you get that bass line? And he was like, you know, that Led Zeppelin tune? And I was like, oh my gosh, that's, you know, and I was like, wow, I never knew that, you know.
As we get sued by Led Zeppelin now.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to
room to talk.
I was going to say, with all that being said, Joel, let's hear some Not Called Common.
Oh, okay.
I mean, this is a music podcast.
Yeah, this is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And here's the thing. I haven't listened to Not Called Common in a while.
Oh.
It's been a while since I've heard some Not Called Common stuff.
Yeah, let me not share my screen. Let me share.
What are we doing here? This is
amateur hour, guys.
UNT3, you know. You're out of the band now.
Yeah, well, okay.
Chris has taken your spot.
Right.
Is there anything like in particular you'd like to start off with, Mr. Griffers?
No, dude, you're driving this train right now.
Ooh.
Start off with the first song that y'all wrote.
Oh, ooh.
What was the first song we wrote?
That's a deep cut right there. Like, man, we're diving way deep in.
What's the first song you
Dude,
wrote?
the very
How
first.
Can You Love Me?
That
was
was
the first song.
Yeah, that was the first one that we actually wrote. So here, I'll start with this one because we actually talked about it. So
I thought it was Term of Affection. Oh man.
Can y'all hear this?
Yeah.
Is it too loud?
That's asking when instead of why.
That's correct.
Of course it is. Come on.
Hello, hello, hello. 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 Hello. Faithful servants, the long haul back on bar. The line take wells of hope with a speed of sorrow. I'm surprised from painful expectations. The presidents and kings see it truly rules the nations. How long? 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 Faith and patience to lie and have the promise.
Okay. Since we have a lot to cover, I figure we'll play a couple of tracks. And that's the worst part
good.
about this. It's like you get into it and then you're like, no, keep going.
So what I like about that, like when I first started watching y'all, Joel, when it came time for you to solo on that song, it was interesting because over the years that I went to your first show and saw y'all, and then when you played your last show, the way you soloed over that song evolved. And so usually in the beginning time, like there weren't very many power chords that you would lead into it. Like you just went straight into just notes. Pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
But then your lead into all of that and the build up to the actually like making the guitar sing, it was cool watching that.
No, well, thank you. No, I love, and that's what we was talking about earlier. Is like hearing some of these songs, in the studio, and then like So I'm going to play this one next. This is one we talked about. This is one of those ones that I wish we could have gone back and re-recorded because the interplay on the live version with Chris and I later on with the rest of the band, it was just, you never knew what we were going to do, but it was always so much better. So this is one we talked about just a second. Oh, I guess I should actually turn the volume up. Here we go. Here we go. Give me 1 second. The sexy fade always gets me. Here we go. Yeah, this is the one where Louis heard the bass part and we wrote it as we were waiting for Greg to get here.
So this is
rehearsal.
Praying and Searching?
Yeah, this Praying and Searching, yeah.
Wish I had no need for one. Today would never end, so tomorrow would never be dreaded. Everyone were as smart as they think they are. Never hacked, point anything, wish I were. Enough! I wish everyone were happy just the way they are. Promises were illegal. Patience was like air. You just breathed and you had it. Love was like air. Answers were like air. I wish there were more. And still I breathe.
Oh my gosh. And that's what Chris would do live. If you're not watching this on YouTube, y'all need to watch this because it makes it worth.
Now, who was the guy doing like the really like
Yeah, who was
That was Ezra's voice, but they just re-recorded it and like detuned it or something, didn't they?
Yeah, what they did is they took the track and they copied it and then they just dropped it down a couple octaves because Ezra's voice is naturally pretty high, and so that's how they did that track where it's got the low one. And I forget, that was a Barry thing. Barry was like, I think this would be really cool, and we tried it. So okay, I'm gonna play. Here is speaking of Louis. This is a track that actually we wrote because of Louis. So this is an old track. You remember this one?
Yeah.
What part are you playing, Joel?
That kind of airy guitar in the background. Greg's actually playing acoustic guitar on this.
Yeah, he's like a window.
This is called He's Like a Window?
Yes. Yeah.
Ezra's just been singing it like from the beginning.
Yeah, but it's very hard to understand what he's saying.
Sometimes.
Like a window for a small flat dirty place.
And that little high harmonics, that's me in the background.
My reflection. The words are on you, written on your frosted surface. You can't deny, you've come between me and the light.
So when we actually first started playing, Greg actually played all acoustic. He never played
Yeah, that's right.
electric. It was all acoustic. And so that was something that was completely different when we first started playing, because it's like, what the heck, but I mean it was really cool. So okay.
So hey, before you play the next one.
Yeah, do it.
So there's a recording, and it was on like a demo, or it never even got onto a CD that y'all handed out to anybody. But I believe it's called A Situation Involving an Individual. And there's a vocal harmony in that song that I think is amazing, right?
Yeah.
But the story is Ezra got really pissed off about that. Like apparently, because the guy that recorded it or whatever recorded himself doing the harmony.
Yeah, Tony
really
recorded himself.
Pissed Ezra off.
Yeah.
But it's actually one of the best harmonies on any recording that y'all have ever done.
Huh.
Yeah. It what it was on that same demo we just listened to, and Tony, brilliant writer and singer, he had recorded vocals. Well, back in that day, I don't know if you remember this, Chris, but like the programs, when you rendered it down, it took hours. on the digital format. And so Tony had recorded all this stuff, mixed it, and it sounded great. And we all loved it. But Ezra, you could see he was like, whose vote? He's like, oh, I did that. He's like, well, can you take it out? He's like, that's going to take like hours. So and he mixed everything, and it was like, we're just stuck with it. So, but that's funny that you say that.
And so what happened? Do we have to cut
kept it in there? It's in that original demo. Like his vocals are in that original demo. So, and
Tony's vocal.
And
that's awesome.
Sounds great.
It does.
I think his vocal, the harmony complements Ezra very well, and it worked. But hearing Joel be like, yeah, Ezra hated that. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
because for me it made the song.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. See, what he was is he was a worship leader at Grace Community Church, and he decided to record us, I guess. But because he was a worship leader, he could sing, so he did that. I think by 2001 or 2, they moved to Tyler, and he's the pastor of Soma Church there in Tyler. But the funny thing is like, you were loving that vocal, and he was another person that was in our lives at that time.
Yeah.
And that's hilarious that I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. And he encouraged Ezra to write. Like, he's the one that said, you should write some Christian music, and Ezra would send him stuff. And the story, of course, there's Ezra's story to tell, but basically he would send him stuff and he'd go, ooh, yeah. Why don't you try that again? Why don't you try one more time? So,
really?
Wow. And he ended up starting having some good stuff. Okay, so here's another track. I think this is a fan favorite from you guys.
Dude, I freaking love this song.
Listen, baby, I know babies too. Better than one they meet when they're hard to do. All my friends I haven't forgotten, somehow out of touch. Every time you bless my friends, but my enemies twice in but see, I've dared the truth for years and didn't let them see. Drive through society, eating the hope and patiently, giving way, never putting me on trial. Anything and everything I can do, see her smile. Let Father Son Holy Ghost on everything they've seen. Bless the night and day, difference in between. What's the heat of a sun, moves over and cold. The pressure of her arms, reason the gospel is true.
Okay, that
No, don't fade it out.
That's while you were away. Now that falls under the Dave Youngman. Yeah, that's the Dave Youngman, one of the Dave Youngman recordings. So
yeah, that was you could tell there's something about that.
That wasn't on the album, was it?
No, it was one of the ones that I wanted.
We played live though.
Yeah, we played it live, and it was one of the greatest songs. And
I never understood why that one. I know there was that voting process about what songs to put on the album, but how that one didn't get included.
It almost did. It
almost did. Cut. That and Nihilism were two that were cut off. But the thing is, we had some people that were more pop oriented, and that song, the recording doesn't do it justice because the live version was always.
Yeah, it was raw.
Yeah, it was real raw and loud.
That was one of the songs. That one, not one. How Could You Love Me and God's Autograph. Those four were just like, when you guys would play those 4 songs live, that was one of those. I have no affiliation with the band, I don't know who you are, and I'm at the bar getting a drink, and that song, one of those 4 songs gets going, that's one of the, oh wait, who is this? I need to check them out. That was always a showstopper, those songs.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. And I remember we played a show one time, and we only played it once, and I just remember they had women's bras hanging from the rafters. It was one of the roughest places we'd played. And we were playing, and as soon as we started with He's Like a Window, and they kind of like it was kind of like that scene in Blues Brothers where they walk into the club and they all kind of turn and look at him and they're like, hey, and he's like, I don't know you. And it was like they stopped playing pool. And then we launched like a song or two later into While You're Away and Nihilism and Not One. And by the time we finished those 3 songs, it was like we had won them over. And they were like, they came up afterwards. Y'all were so great. And that's actually one of the nights where he said, this was it's something with a night full of crap. This was a bright light and a night full of crap or something like that.
Yes, I remember that now.
And I just remember we were like, that's probably the best compliment you could give us. But okay, I'm going to play just a few more former tracks. This is actually one that was not recorded, but I really feel like it should have. And I think that y'all are going to agree when you, at least 2 of y'all.
Wait, time out. It wasn't recorded.
It wasn't on the album is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Nothing more hollow, man without a dream. Even one chasing flowers, dull as redwood, his hand they grow above clouds.
You remember this, Chris?
Feel the intention, but take him away. His dream would be their doom. Day after day, a bad sign and good downfalls of yellow bloom. Here, I blame myself. I should have covered you with words lying. Oh dear, I blame myself. I should have given you the best of me.
Okay, so Chris, do you remember what happened on this track? Because Brian alluded to it while we were listening. Do you remember what happens on this track?
Yes.
He
was. No, it's still on there.
Do you remember
it is
Fisher?
still on there. It's at the.
No.
Okay.
Oh man.
You gotta play it.
Okay, so
Well,
here,
it's a demo.
Yeah.
We're trying to lay this song down to decide whether or not we're going to record it.
Yeah. So Ezra he had downed 2 chili dogs and he had acid reflux anyway and went right into the booth. And this is what happens when you do that.
And don't you saw only for me done with blossoms that he flew around.
Oh my God.
You laughed over it.
Yeah, so play it again and mute yourself, Joel.
Okay,
Cox.
sorry.
Yeah.
I can't help it. Oh, geez. That's so great. Okay, let me pull it back up. I gotta find the spot now. Oh man, it's so good. I will not laugh.
What song was that?
Redwoods and sunflowers.
Kept sowing the ground.
Redwoods.
And don't you saw only for me done with blossoms that he flew around.
Okay, did you hear it
Did he
that
throw
time?
up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
Oh man.
So that song is actually like in probably my top 5 not called common moments when y'all
Really?
because there was a performance that y'all did and what Joel was it? I'm pretty sure it was Trees. I think it's when y'all.
It wasn't Trees. We didn't ever. We were supposed to play Trees opening for Robert Randolph, but it was like Deep Ellum Live, I believe, is what it was, or one of those, or Blind Lemon. It was. We'd never done it. We opened up for Isley.
Ezra, when it gets to the apex of the song, and Ezra's just repeating, "You're my sunflower." Chris, he was screaming it at the top of his lungs in the song. And the thing, we're talking like you could feel the angst within him as he was singing this, but you on the drums and all the other guys playing, like they were feeding off of that. And it was one of the most intense, angry, just emotional moments that I ever saw with y'all ever.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's up there for me, because Ezra never performed it like that up until then.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you remember, but that's the night that we found out that Louis was actually leaving the band.
Yeah.
And then we played that.
Yeah.
He threw it on there just so he could get his vocal chops out. Okay, I'm gonna play one more little snippet, and then I hear that Chris has brought a first listen for us. So this is our first listen. So this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
But here we go. This is one I think y'all already know what I'm gonna end on. So
do it.
And this recording doesn't do it justice.
Joel, I need you to share this audio file after this is over.
Okay, I can drop it in the Google Drive.
For those of y'all listening, this is one of the songs I referenced. This is God's Autograph.
Cannot begin to explain how blessed I am since my life came into contact with you. There's so many reasons to love you, and I'm able to count them all. Ever will I be captivated by you, God's autograph. My priceless treasure.
If only we had more time, right? Jeez. You know what's funny, Chris, is listening back to that little, anytime I do the intro, because that was me doing the intro for those who don't know this song. Every time I do that, dun, 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 I never knew what time signature we were in. And I would always like look to you to like make sure that I was like, because sometimes it would change because when I wrote it, I didn't really, it was all just like, we were just in there. And that's one of those ones where Ezra said, hey, do that. I got something for that. But like that little thing, I don't know if it was always it always felt like it was different every time. So I would listen to you and what you were doing and okay, Chris is in, so I'm just gonna follow. But
that's what I love about that song in particular. But that's what I loved about y'all's band was you could play the exact same set list on, or you could play a set list on Tuesday and play that exact same set list on Friday, but the songs would sound different.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean, you could tell that, oh, that's While You're Away, that's God's Autograph, that's London Bridge. But there was always, and obviously you have to see you guys play over and over again to get it, but there was always something like it was the same song, but maybe Joel's solo was different or a different drum fill.
Right.
Or, you know, it wasn't.
We played.
Go ahead.
No, we played that song so many times and we always kind of did it a little differently. I remember we had some gigs up in Oklahoma City. And those were very memorable versions of that song.
Yeah.
And I remember Joel did some crazy things and I played off of that. And then I think Daryl joined in. It was during Daryl's time. And there was such beauty and such, going back to Ezra a little bit, to give props to Ezra, is the thing that I did really appreciate about him was that he was into the art and the craft of the music. And so he didn't have to sing. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. The God's Autograph showcases everybody but me. Like, he just had those little snippets and then he didn't do anything for 10 minutes because it was like a 15-minute song. But that's the thing, is he wasn't real egotistical about stuff in that sense. He understood, oh man, this is awesome. You got to let them do their thing. And he totally understood that. And there's a lot of maturity that he had, but that's just the way he always is or was in the band. But we would do that song, and Joel is right. I'd be like, da, 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 but something that would be like, it'd be like different, but we would just roll with it. And, so that was,
it was just a testament to how well you guys played individually and as a group.
Yeah.
So
no, it was definitely great. And I absolutely love that song. I do have to say, we did a show at a club off Berry Street, south of Fort Worth, and I got stuck in traffic and everybody was waiting on me. Do you remember this, Chris? It was some hole in the wall club. So I pull up and I tell everybody, you know what? I'm going to be late. Just play. And if I get there in time, I'll jump up on stage. They had such integrity that they waited for me to get there. They all helped me get my stuff set up. We had time for one song and we played a 15-minute version of God's Autograph.
Oh, that's awesome.
And
I think I remember that gig.
Yeah. Like literally we finished it and you could tell everybody was like, wait, that's it? No, we want more, but we that was our time slot. And then I put my car in and I went to Whataburger and I was mad and I got a shake and a burger and I drove home. And then the next day I woke up and I thought, dude, we had that one song. We obliterated that room. And so every time I think that's one of the memories I think of this song. But I'm sorry, Ryan, what were you going to say?
So I was going to say, before we go on to the first listen, will you please do me a favor? Because I won't be able to sleep tonight unless you do.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Okay. Can you please put that song back on and at least give us just a snippet of the little breakdown at the end? Because the song completely shifts into a different, it's like two different songs in one.
So what you're doing that was, when you wrote that song, was that with Louis in the band or after Louis?
No, he was in the band when it was written.
Yeah, he was in the band.
When I first started watching y'all played that one time. Y'all played it at one gig when I first started coming to gigs. And then Ezra put it on the back burner and y'all didn't play it for almost 2 years. Y'all did not play that song for a long time. And then all of a sudden, Ezra started putting it on the playlist again. And then it became your signature closing song. But I'll never forget, it was early when I heard that and I was like, why don't y'all ever play that song ever again? And Ezra was like, well, it just takes up too much time. And he goes, we can fill more songs on our set list. And then he just,
Oh, that's funny.
There it is.
The bass. Yep.
Oh, yes.
The show in Austin that I saw you guys play, when Daryl started that bass riff right there, that doo 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 doo. That's when, I mean, the kids were already losing their collective faces by that point, but you could just feel it in the crowd. They were like, what's coming? And I just remember thinking, they have no idea what's about to hit them. And
yeah, hearing this live definitely does make this section, you know.
Joel, are you doing the doo-doo?
Yeah.
Down, down, down.
Oh, nice fill. It's a different. Yeah. So there you go.
Man, it makes
Sexy
makes you
fade.
want to cry.
Dude.
Wow.
Tears, man.
There are so many memories flooding my brain right now from just listening to that. Like I can't, like, dude, there are, it's almost like if you're watching a show or a movie where it's like somebody's having all these like quick flashbacks of different venues and different people and different faces. And it's like, God, it's amazing at how a song that's so near and dear to your heart can do that to you. It's like, we talked about that with different bands on this show, about how like listening to something from, you know, back in the 80s or the, you know, the 70s takes y'all back to, you know, being kids, or something in the 90s takes you back to middle school. Dude, that song right there takes, God, we were young and we didn't know anything about anything.
And
we
we
thought
still
we
don't know
did.
anything about anything.
I
I'm
remember.
not young anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
That song is really weird because when I was listening to it, I thought, oh yeah, we didn't do that. Oh, we did it later. Or, oh, he did that line. Oh, because it was always improv, that when you try to lay it down,
right.
It's you never do it the same way twice. I was playing fills and I was like, oh yeah, I did this right. No, I didn't do that right there. And it's you know, I did very few repeated fills where I did it the same. At the ending, I did. But throughout the whole thing, it was always real random. So the magic that you hear, if you hear something, we would try to replicate it. But yeah, we would even do it. And when we record it, we were like, oh yeah, that wasn't as good. Or I wish I hadn't done this. Or in Louis came in, like Joel and I were looking at each other and we were letting the music rest after this.
Yeah.
And then he came in too early and it was like, but he knew he did. But it was one of those weird things where it would have been fine for one of the gigs, one of the nights. But then on a recording, it's like, oh no, you laid it down and that's the
Right.
recording forever, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that was a really that song, like you're saying, Ryan, it brings back like, yeah, like there's certain songs that they start, it's like it's drilling in you, and it's like taking a core sample out and you're looking at all this stuff and you're just like, wow, that's
Yeah, well, all of the songs that were played tonight. I mean,
Yeah.
I can remember, things would pop in my head and like, oh, I remember hearing this here. I remember like some of
Right.
the stuff you played. I was like, oh, they played that at the Hard Rock.
Oh
When y'all
yeah.
had that Hard Rock show. Oh,
Yeah.
God, that was such a good show. That's in my top 3 not called common shows. That, the Austin show, and then your CD release party. Not at Dada, but I think y'all did one at Irving Bible.
We might
Right.
have. Yeah.
I think y'all did a listening party there.
Yeah.
Those 3 shows, and for different songs. Like the one at Irving Bible was when y'all played Not One that night. Like that's when you started doing the extended guitar solo and the extended bass part that's not on the album. And I
Yeah.
remember y'all played that version of it and the people who had I guess heard the album or whatnot, they were looking around like that's not on the album.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah,
that's what I liked
that's
about
right.
the band is just you guys would do stuff live that's not on the album. And
That's right. That was at Matt's show, Matt Mungel's show.
Yeah.
That's
The Mount
Irving
Marble show.
Bobby-
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry.
Spin 180.
yep. So
Yeah.
so let's get that first listen.
Well, yeah, I would say let's get that first listen going. Chris got it. So
It's-
you know how to share your sound and all
Oh,
that,
okay.
right?
So, well,
Hit the arrow next to the mic down in the corner.
yeah, it's not that. It's like I'm picking something that is very dear to my heart because I've been listening to it lately, and I'm like, oh man, this is so good. But it's not. It doesn't fit the mood of what all
Oh.
we're doing.
It's
So-
okay.
Welcome to my world, baby.
Okay.
Obviously, you haven't seen the other ones, the
Oh,
other
man.
episodes. I'm always the
the-
guy out there bringing just different stuff.
The best part of this. So earlier in the week, when Chris was texting us in our group text, Chris, we threw the idea at him for him to do the first listen, and he starts asking questions. He's like, "Well, do we do the whole song, or is it just like sections of the song, and what kind of song, and this and that?" And I never said this. I was waiting for it tonight for when we were on here. I wanted to be like, clearly, this guy has never watched a single damn episode.
It's okay. Don't watch don't start with the last episode. It's
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
pretty good.
hilarious.
it'll
think-
test the boundaries.
No, it won't.
And so,
If we haven't
So,
tested the
before-
boundaries already,
oh
then
man, yeah.
Wait, you will see a few of those. There's a few
Oh, man.
Chris Flynn isms in our show.
That's so crazy. Well,
Okay, I'm
the-
excited. Let's do this.
Okay. Hold on. Sorry.
Corazando.
Ustedes pasando en la biblioteca.
Yeah, exactly. Blah, blah, blah.
We got to
right,
find that
so-
track.
Okay, so I don't know how this works. Let me see if I can figure it out real quick. First listen. So do I do share screen?
Yeah, you'll do
Yeah,
share
I don't-
screen. Actually,
Okay.
y'all tell him. Y'all are faster.
Okay, so full screen mode, maximize window, silence notification, share individual window.
you want to
Uh,
click the advanced and then computer
Oh.
audio only.
So you'll see advanced, and then you'll see computer audio. Hit the computer audio, and then hit share.
Minutes of preparation. This will all be
Okay, hold
edited
on.
out.
Minutes.
right, okay. Well, hold on. I'm in advanced.
So you
But-
should see PowerPoint as virtual background portion of screen, and the next should say computer audio.
Okay, so general. Okay, so I'm in. Go to share screen. That's the button in the setting.
The green sheet,
Under-
the green button at the bottom. You see that menu? When you hover over all of our faces, you should see the green share
Oh.
screen button on the bottom.
Okay, hold on.
But you don't want to share your screen. You just want to share the audio.
Right. Okay, hold on. I was in the wrong app to do it. Okay, so share screen. So
The
I click
green
that.
share screen. Then up in the top, you'll see basic, advanced, and files. Click
Oh, got it. I was in the
advanced,
wrong thing. Okay, so just
and
say
then hit
computer audio. Got it.
computer audio, and then share.
Oh, okay. That's that simple. Here we go.
There it is. You're sharing your computer sound. Minutes of preparation.
Is anything coming through?
You turn the volume up, maybe.
Oh shoot! The volume's off. Let me start again.
Okay, I heard something.
Here we go.
Already better than anything Joel has ever shared with us.
That's it.
Okay, you have to tell us who that is, man.
So that is a pianist named Jean-Michel Blaise, and that song is called Roses. And I did not know this, and now I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful song. The little background bum bum, the pulsating thing. Here's what he says. Roses is a funeral piece dedicated to my friend's mother who died from cancer. The ostinato, the repeating single note in the intro, represents her beating heart. And the ever-present tumor, sometimes forgotten but still growing. How do ill people find peace if they can at all? Roses is my attempt to reflect a journey of someone's musical memories, wandering from pop to classical remembrances, concluding on nostalgic harmony. So
Wow.
that's from 2018. So you could, I could send you the link or whatever. You can look it up, but I didn't know any of that until 5 minutes before the show.
Oh,
Wow.
And I'm
Wow.
like,
Really
whoa, yeah. And like,
super
I just,
heavy.
yeah, but when you listen to it, it like raised the hair on the back of my neck, some of the way,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh my gosh. But I found that on iTunes. I've been listening to a bunch of solo pianists, and that's where
See, I was expecting something completely different from you. Something with I thought it'd be a little more groove or funk oriented.
well,
and you know, because that's what we used to talk about before and after shows, was the kind of stuff that
I know.
got you into drumming and all that. But you know, I mean, and right before you're like, I don't know if it fits the mood. I think it completely fit the mood of the show.
Oh yeah.
Just how, like I said, when you see a Not Called Common show, it's going to be a little different every time. And
Yeah.
that's what I can liken it to. That's just a little bit different than what, you know, I was expecting, or maybe Joel or Ryan was expecting.
That's
really
why I
liked
was.
it. I really liked
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I wasn't. That's why I was like, "Are you sure?" Like, because this is what really was moving me. But again, back to what the thing that I really liked about Not Called Common, and you guys are both attesting to this, is that the musicianship in the group was so deep, and the stylistically, by the end, we were like, "Hey, let's write a U2 song," and so we could just do it, and it sounded like U2.
Yeah.
The thing that I really appreciate about
That's crazy. And then we would do something else, and so that's kind of, yeah. So anyway,
the thing I loved about you guys was, I may have said it earlier in the show, but the thing I loved about you guys was just y'all were all, if you think I'm exaggerating, let me know, but y'all were all masters of your instruments. You know,
well, thank you. I am not going to admit to that because I'm not a master, but I really do appreciate you enjoying.
And maybe it was just the interplay between the five of you that allowed you to be so improvisational, right?
Yeah.
And
well, I think what you're hitting though there is, even if we weren't the masters, you know, we're not playing with the dude from New Orleans, Carter Beaufort and all that. The thing about it is we all had musical minds. And so even me as a drummer, I'd have a musical mind enough to go, ooh, let's add some subtlety to this thing, you know, but I think because we were more unified in our musicianship, that we were musicians. We were right. Good musicians. You know, maybe we're not the greatest, but guess what? Guys that play and tour nationally and make millions of dollars a year are not the best. Mm-hmm. Like, we're just as good as any of them, kind of thing. And that was the deal, is that we wrote songs, but we had a good musicianship quality to us from listening to each other. And, you know, from Louis to Joel, and then Greg, and then you had Ezra that just could, like, whoa, I have a song for that. Yeah. And it just flowed. It was like a river, and you opened and the waters flowed out. And so I would attest to that. And I think that's what you're saying, is that's what you were like, wow, y'all were just such amazing musicians. But yeah, it's not necessarily we had incredible musicianship individually. I sure didn't. But the thing is as a group, we were good musicians with where we were at. And so things went, really nicely together, I think.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And the only thing that I would add is, I think for me personally as a musician, playing with that group of people made me better. So playing with you and it's so funny because Greg and I were such polar opposites, but it worked. He was very much classical and straight, and I was very much, it's going to be different every time. Ezra encouraged, to his, credit, he encouraged, like you said earlier, us to just, you want to go there? Let's go there. You don't want to go there? Hey, I have an idea for that. Oh, you have an idea? Okay, let's hear it. And he always, like all of us together, even when Louis left and we brought in Daryl, like I remember at a certain point I was playing and I didn't have to think. And it's the only time that I've ever been in a situation where I could just openly play and not have to think. And so I don't think you're a great drummer. I feel like I'm a pretty good guitar player. Greg is, but I think when we got together, we all became better.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like I'm a solid drummer, but it was coming together with these other solid musicians that it just like whoosh, we rose up and bringing all this back makes me sad because I'm just like, oh man, because I'm like, golly, that was a great song.
I wish I like what you said earlier. I wish we could, and of course that's hindsight's always 2020. I wish we wouldn't have worried so much about things that didn't matter and just create.
Right. That's right. But it doesn't matter. Right. Yeah. It's like the name. We wasted probably hours on here and
money
finding a new name.
Money we didn't have. Yeah. But
and for money that we didn't have, and we got signed. Well, when I say we got signed, we got a contract offered to us by Peter Furler's record label. I can't remember the name of it now, but the thing is our lawyer said, no, I would submit this. I would revise it and submit it back to say, this is what we're interested in. And we never heard from them again. Like we didn't get a courtesy.
Yeah, we did after with the second, third contract revision. And then it froze because their investors said they need, if we would have signed the first or second revision, we would be with that record label. So that's the unfortunate part.
Okay.
So we held on a little too long, and I understand that he was protecting our interests, but also but you know what? This is where we're at now, and
exactly
being able to sit here and have these conversations, and none of us hate each other, and there's a camaraderie that, like, there's stories that we can't tell on air because they're too deep, but we have those moments. And as much as I love the band, I love the people, and I love the people that were surrounded. Like, my best friends, Anna's, a part of this at the very beginning. And I mean, if you can't hang out with Knockout Common, sorry, we can't get married, like stuff like that. I just, I can't, we all have kids now, and our friends and all the people that surrounded the band, all the bands we played with that we're still friends with, that they're no longer bands. I mean, I wouldn't ask it to be any other way, but I will say that this does make me want to get together and play some more music really soon. So that's a great thing about what we did.
Yes, I will second that. Yes, get together, play some music soon.
We need to get Ezra on board, but Chris, man,
I wanna, Chris, I don't know if you know, but over the summer I got remarried. And
congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
And so, I have a wife and two stepdaughters that I would love to bring to a Not Called Common show and go, this was
we could probably do it at Hope Works. If Shane Gray is still there, he had us do that reunion years ago, and maybe we do something for Louis or something. I don't know. Like maybe
that would be cool.
Make it some kind of a I heard that Daryl was in like Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's up north. Yeah.
Yeah. So
but he'd come. He'd come.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Daryl's
And-
that kind of guy that he
Yeah.
just would do it. And he would know the tunes better than any of us. You know, like he was
He'd be
so
like-
phenomenal.
He'd be like, no. You
Yeah,
gotta play
no,
like this.
Chris, you didn't play that. You played that. You played this on that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, Daryl. Wow. You know, he's that kind of-
Thanks, Daryl. You want to get down on the? I just remember the time he picked up the guitar. He's a phenomenal guitar player.
Oh,
too.
is it? Oh, yeah, that's right.
I was like, no, like he plays like Eddie Van Halen. I was like, nope, you're not playing guitar in this band. But
That's
But,
funny.
but dude, hey, I have to say personally, I love the first listen. It just to kind of tie in, it sounds like Radiohead to me. It sounds like
I
Sigur
got a very
Rós.
yes.
Like I was like, this is crazy. This is exactly what this show's about, is exposing music to people that may not have heard anything like that. So I absolutely love the track, and I thought it was great.
Yeah. At one
So-
point, I almost asked, "Is this a Radiohead
Yeah.
song?"
Yeah,
It was.
Yeah. definitely.
Really? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
But
Yeah.
Gervers, you haven't said anything about it. Did you like it?
I did actually, and it was the first thing that came to mind when we started listening to it is it's interesting that you read that little synopsis of the song and it talked about that one steady note at the beginning, because I tend to be a sucker for songs that have pedal notes that everything just kind of goes around.
Yeah.
I just it is what it is, and I'm always trying to find a song where I can be like, oh, there's the pedal note. And so I was like, okay, how long is this going to stay? Is it going to go away, or is it going to stay the whole song? And for a little bit, halfway, like middle of the song, it wasn't getting played, but it was still there in my head. I could still hear it.
Right.
And then he brought it back, and I was like, there it
There
is.
it is.
But I will say this though, man, there was that little section, probably about 3/4 of the way or more towards the end, where they brought in the strings.
Yeah.
The strings were doing this real, like almost like waves coming
Yeah.
through, just like waves scooting through. And there were some harmonies and chords that the strings brought into it that I don't mind saying, I was almost moved to tears. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that
Yes.
that right there, that's emotional. Because I mean, as cliche as this sounds, because they were strings, I mean, it was like tugging at the heartstrings a little bit.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, dude, I loved it. And I'm going to go as far to say this as we need to have,
geez.
no, well, Joel knows what's coming, but I mean, but it was probably the best, if not
Yeah.
one of the best first listens we've had.
Of course it
And-
is. It's always better than anything I bring.
But
Not
no,
anything.
but man, we need to have guest first listens more, because that was a breath of fresh air to the first listen segment of the
I
show.
agree.
That really was, because
It
that
really was.
totally, and I'll piggyback off what Christian said. Right before you played, you're like, I don't know if it's gonna fit the vibe or what, dude. That, like Christian said, that fit perfectly. That fit perfectly. Like I don't
That's
know.
awesome.
I don't think if you play anything else, if you play something that's got groove or funk to it, I don't know that. I don't know. I don't know that it would have hit the same as what you played. What you played, I don't know why, but for some reason I felt I needed to hear that.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Yeah. And I didn't know about the song, that whole little synopsis. Literally, I was like, whoa. I didn't know that's what's so fascinating about the song, because now go back and listen to it. I'll send y'all the link after the,
sure.
but you can listen to it because it's basically about the heartbeat. And at the very end, he brings it back in and then it stops.
Yeah.
And when you think about a lot of the tumbling that the piano does in that, where it's like, and it's building and it's building, it's building. And then all of a sudden it like crests and it's like, boom. And it's almost like, I think about Joel, I think about your mama.
Yeah.
And how like the anticipation of, as she was dying, she's going to a better place.
Yeah.
And like, there it is. She's tumbling, it's tumbling, it's tumbling. And then all of a sudden, boom, she's there in heaven with the Lord. And
Yeah.
like when I hear that song, I didn't even know that was what the imagery was. I just was like, now I'm going to be listening to it myself and being like, oh my gosh, this is deeper than what I originally, but I've listened to it a lot and I didn't know any of that because I never looked at it. So Anyway, but I'm really glad y'all liked it. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really good, and thank you for saying that. We've lost some people lately. Drew, of course, from Rhythm, passed away recently, and it's funny you say that thing about my mom. On one of the other episodes, when I found out, I'd actually ran into Drew in Abilene. He snuck Ireland into
that's right.
He snuck her into the bar here, and then he invited me to play later that week, and so. My family was coming over, my dad and stepsister and all these other people. And I was in the parking lot right before everyone showed up. And that's when I found out that she passed away. So I had this weird like connect, and he was just so cool. It's like, hey man, this is exactly what your mom wants you to be doing. And I was like, you don't even know my mom, but that's exactly right. And it ended up being a really cool thing. But that just as a side note, but guys, if y'all like the track, if you like Chris, if you want him to come back, I know that I already want him to come back, but check the tune. We'll have the link in the video. Go check it out. Check out the other work. Let us know what you think. If you like the song, if you don't like the song, let us know. If you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple podcast, if you're on YouTube. We have a lot of people that have been joining our Instagram. Thank you so much. A lot of people joining our Facebook, but we want to hear from you. So if you'd like Chris to come back, if you want to hear if you think the song sucks, tell us. We want to hear it. We think it's awesome. So don't tell us it sucks. But so Fisher, so do you have some things to recommend this week as far as some website or YouTube channels?
Some YouTube channels. Yeah.
Awesome.
The first one, shocker, is a cover channel, but if I'm reading the little research that I did on this channel, I believe they're a cover group from Spain, and the channel is called Broken Peach. It's 3 guys in the band, the guitar player, the bass player, and the drummer, and then it's 4 women singers, and it's like they'll take they're kind of like a postmodern jukebox.
Okay.
Right. They'll play at least the vocal styling is like that, but they'll take a song like Personal Jesus and make it funky, right? Things like that. But what they're known for is their Halloween show, and they'll do face paint and make themselves look like skeletons, stuff like that. But that's what they're known. Like, I was reading some of the comments on one of the videos the other day saying, I can't wait for the Halloween special to come out. That's what I'm looking for, or waiting for, things of that nature. So they're known for their Halloween specials and their covers of songs, and turning them into maybe like a 50s rockabilly style. So that's the first channel, Broken Peach. And then the next one, a lot of stuff that I like to watch on YouTube are live versions of songs, because I think that's where you really truly get to know a band, is to see them live. And one of the channels that I've been actually watching here recently is Muse Live Videos. It's the band Muse out of England.
Yeah.
And it's just live videos going all the way back to like 1997. So go check that out.
Awesome.
If you like that band, if you want to see some really good live shows, I recommend their 2010 Glastonbury show. Go watch that.
That's a good one.
It's balls to the wall from beginning to end. It's what a live show should be. So go check them out.
Man,
that's awesome. Thank you.
Not Called Common episode number 1, because I have a feeling, I just do. I have a feeling that we're going to have more NCC shows. I really do. But man, if y'all liked the little snippets of the Not Called Common that Joel played, let us know in the comment section. Go on Facebook, shoot us a message, Instagram, right? Reach out to us. And if y'all want to hear more Not Called Common stuff, we'll give you more Not Called Common stuff.
Yes, we will.
We will absolutely make that happen. Before we do sign off, though, man, Chris, thank you so much for being here and
thank you
giving
guys.
us insight.
Thank
man,
you.
This and that first listen, wow, that was good. That was one of the best.
Thank
And
you.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret here, Chris. And so what you can do is you can help us with this because we're bringing a challenge back.
Oh, no.
Yes.
And Chris, you need to help us on this.
No.
Okay.
Okay. So here's what we're doing. We need 100 views on this episode. We need to get 100 views. Or
Okay.
let's do 50 comments. If we can get 50 comments on this episode, this guy right here, Joel, his favorite song in the entire world is Hero by Nickelback. He loves it.
Oh
He can't listen to it enough.
I hate
And
you guys so
here's
much.
the thing. So what's going to happen is, Chris, my brother, I know you're going to help. If we can get 100 views or 50 comments on this episode, he has to play Hero
Okay.
on one of our shows.
Oh, nice.
But he's got to do it wearing pasties.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Chris,
So-
please help them.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's breaking up. I can't.
Right on. Right on.
Oh,
That's
my
a good man right
gosh.
there.
So,
Up for his,
so everybody out there that's new on Instagram and Facebook, that's the challenge. Get on, comment, view. So that dude right there has to play in pasties for you because he wants to do it. He really does. He wants
He really
to. He's
doesn't
told
want
us-
to do it.
No, he's told us off camera and off the air that he
Minutes of
really wants to
preparation.
do it.
Minutes
Right?
of preparation.
So-
H.
Hey, again, fantastic episode, guys. We got more great stuff coming y'all's way. We still have a few more albums to cover that are turning 30. We haven't forgotten to do the episode where MTV has turned 40. That's coming your way. But until
Okay.
then, keep living, keep loving, keep listening, and as always, keep rocking.
Chris Flynn, man.
yes,
There
Chris
it
Flynn.
is.
There he is.
Thank you. Thank
hey,
you.
Look at
So,
that.
okay, before I forget it, Chris, and
Yes.
I have to tell you, okay, because you don't remember the story, but I, as soon as I started talking about it, I had to edit it.
Okay.
But the one part I left out is when you stood up. And I was like,
You're like my eyes. Help, my eyes. I want to unsee it.
So Ezra's behind me, and I'm like this, and you stand up, and it's like, and I'm just like,
I gotta where to look. Where do I look? I gotta look somewhere else. Oh man.
but as soon as I
Sorry
was telling
for
the
the,
story, I was like, this won't make air, but I was like, I have to remind it because we laughed about it. Like Louis is like, yeah, to rock it like a mug.